A candle's not going to grow a business unless you're in a candle business. No spa date is going to repair a relationship that you've been avoiding. I know that, you know that. So why are we pretending that we don't understand the implications? We're gonna keep it real today. Let me just quickly go get something to drink. I'm back with my Powerade. It's not sponsored. That actually sounds very nice to say. Like, y'all's on YouTube having a nice time, hey? Just, yeah, like, maybe that, yeah. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Invest in yourself and put the shame out of it, okay? Put the shame out of the game. There's no need. Okay, let's just... Why are we doing that in 2026? I think that through the help of social media, beauty, wellness, self-care has become so much more accessible for women, so much more necessary. Our paradigm around the whole thing has changed, and I love that. I think women have done an amazing job at representing wellness or self-care as the new necessary ways to care and nurture for our overall well-being. Something that, if we're being honest, a lot of women in particular parts of the world and demographics are still a little on the edge about. I think this new representation of wellness and self-care has made it so much easy for us to firstly engage in conversations like cycle syncing, to think of bath care routines and spa dates as part of a regimen, as part of ways to care for our overall being. That's really dope. I like that. This new wave of self-care mattered to me. It redefined my entire paradigm. I got to understand what I needed to balance me inward, outwardly. I got answers to questions I didn't even know I had, I didn't even know I needed. I got the sheer wisdom to understand that a bath care routine can help me regulate my nervous system, right? There's so much that I receive from the Council of Women on the internet, all in the name of self-care and wellness, that has overall fed into who I am as a living being, and I got to understand my femininity so much more better. I got to understand my personhood, my identity in being women, that yes, maybe surface level it may have come a bit like, I don't know, shallow to some. But what is shallow about caring? What is shallow about the extra step in caring for yourself? The extra step in identifying a need. And that to me is like, I respect that. So this brings me to my point. Let's start taking the shame out of self-care, especially when self-care has been so helpful to so many of us in understanding how best we can care for ourselves. A lot of productivity content creators, love them, tend to demonize self-care, all in the name of discipline, right? I don't believe discipline should be punitive. It should not be this thing that, oh my gosh, like I'm the laziest shit in the world. What am I doing? It doesn't have to be like that. And what we definitely don't need to do is juxtapose self-care and discipline and say, how are we even in that dialogue? I'll give you an example. I heard Mark Manson say,
self-discipline is the ultimate form of self-care. Not bubble baths, not treating yourself, but...
Okay, so, well, generally the statement is not that problematic, honestly. It generally wasn't. But, like, the longer I sat with that, the more I kind of, like, realized why I felt uncomfortable with it. And I figured, like, we can get into it. Let's get into it. I can acknowledge that there is something true about that statement. We're not going to pretend that it's not there. Discipline matters. Discipline is necessary. And we can also admit that there is a part of self-care that is dressed up as a little bit of incomplacency, that putting on a pink robe and a face mask may make you feel motivated, but it won't actually get you to do the job. But there's nothing wrong with that. We've all been there. We've all felt that maybe we just needed a sip on something to remind us that the real work still needs to get done. But nobody's oblivious. Nobody's going to pay the bills going to a spa date. No one's going to do that our way. A candle's not going to grow a business unless you're in a candle business. No spa date is going to repair a relationship that you've been avoiding. I know that, you know that. So why are we pretending that we don't understand the implications? There's no amount of self-care that's going to absolve you from responsibility. There's no kind of it, babes. We know that. So look at the language. Like, no, like, look into it. On one side, we're getting discipline. We're getting do the hard thing. We're getting sacrifice, right? On the other side, we're getting bubble bath, treat yourself. When you picture the person who's doing the bubble bath and treating yourself, who do you think of? I'm gonna give you a minute. You're thinking about a woman, aren't you? When you think about the other side, when you think about the hustle, the grind, the 9 a.m. Like, I mean, okay, well, the 10 a.m. Okay, I keep going. When you think about the 5 a.m., the 4 a.m., who is that? Who do you think of? Who do you think of when they think of when they say self-discipline? That framing is not neutral, it's coded. Discipline, sound-minded, productive, serious, coded masculine. Bubble bath, soft, indulgent, living soft, coded feminine. When you strip the message back, we're practically asking women to think in their masculine nature. That's the real version, and I find that problematic. Not because discipline is not valuable or important, but what we're doing is that we're taking something that is specifically feminine self-care, which is softness, caring for oneself, loving oneself, and we're dressing that up as the enemy of progress. Like, not like, you know, like, you kind of like, you know, it sounds kind of strange to me. It's like, oh, women, while the real work has been done here, you're taking a bubble bath. Nobody's doing that, babes. No one. Not even me. If I have to do the work is gonna get done. So here's what nobody's acknowledging when we say that self-discipline is the ultimate self-care. A lot of men, a lot of women are already showing up disciplined. They're already calling themselves lazy and useless, all in the name of being more disciplined. Already, women are showing up in spaces that were not designed with them in mind. We know this. We know that in order to be taken seriously in this world, we're meant to show up a certain way, which by the way, is not feminine. You have to dress a certain way. You have to look a certain way. You have to speak a certain way. With all this in mind, what point are we making about self-care when the rules of the game have already been written? When women have fought to participate in principle with the way that this society has been built in this fashion? I think people really take for granted how many women do not even participate in self-care. How many women don't even have the time to care. How many of them carry with them traumas of their past, having to be providers, advisors, mothers, friends, everything around the world. There just simply isn't enough time. And I've seen this for myself. I've seen this with my best friend's mother, who literally put everyone else's needs before her own. I've seen this with single mothers. I've seen this with teachers. I've seen this with sisters. I've seen it with young women who use rest as a last resort to something, as some kind of reward, as if resting needs to be earned. I need a drink. Oh, it's a lot. Where is the permission to be soft? In all the discipline in the world, maybe some women just don't need to be told. Like, maybe women just don't need to be told, be more disciplined. Maybe they just need the permission to rest. Maybe they just need the permission to actually slow down, pay attention, know what's going on, and that's okay. So here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I want to build a culture in my life where my relationship with rest is not toxic. I don't have to contend with it. I don't have to endure. I don't have to feel guilty that I've scheduled in rest more times than I've maybe scheduled in a disciplined week. I want to actually enjoy rest. I want to enjoy the little, the nice things of life, like to love the silly necessities. I want to do the things that maybe someone else finds a little vain or naive or soft. I want to do that without an apology, without even a footnote. And you know what? Maybe you should do it too. Your mother didn't work so hard. Your daddy didn't work so hard for you just to toil in the same discomfort as them. Again, this does not mean no work. It just means we're going to stop comparing actual work We're gonna stop comparing actual work to the work that's necessary to upkeep your well-being, okay? Like, I don't even know if those two make sense. If you don't get it, forget about it. I'm gonna say this. Productivity and rest can exist on the same measure, okay? You can get the work done and still look like a bad bitch. You can get the work done and still look amazing, because you know why? No one's gonna care for you the way you will care for yourself. No one. I'm gonna read this part because I don't want to stutter, okay? I don't want to make any mistakes here. So, no one is going to think about the regulation of your nervous system the way you will. No one is going to notice the patterns that have worn you down or disconnected you from yourself, or made you feel like the parts of the soft parts of you are liabilities instead of gifts. No one, baby girl. The routines, the skincare, the slow mornings, the things that look vain from the outside, those are investments. That is you saying, I matter enough to tend to. I am worth the time. I'm worth the effort. That's not vanity. That is radical acts of self-respect. I said it. I have to sip again because that was a lot. That was a lot. And here's the thing that doesn't get said enough. Your body will communicate to you. Okay, your body will tell you when is the right time to grind, to rest. Your body gives you that feedback. Like, there's an entire mechanism in your body, as a woman especially. When to rest, when to grind. When the grinding is costing more than the building, your body will tell you. You know, I don't know how true this is or not, but I came across a woman who had worked in the restaurant industry for so long that it even made her infertile. As she puts it, she was standing too much. She was working too hard. I believe that. Like, I believe that your body's gonna tell you, you've put me under so much strain, I just can't. Is that healthy? Do you think that's healthy? It's not. Honoring your body in those ways is the smartest thing to do. That's a smart thing to do, to honor yourself, to honor the cycles of your body. That's an intelligent decision to make unto your health. If I can say just one more thing to the women who are watching this. If this video gave you a little bit of permission to slip into your feminine, do it. And by the way, I think femininity is expressed differently with all women. But I encourage you, in all the expressions, just remember, you deserve to be soft. You deserve to be cared for, baby. It's okay. When my mother would tell me, like, yo, we didn't have money for... I didn't have money for this to get you to... Like, we didn't have money for this. Yo, but I want chicken licking, or I want a KFC. I was like, girl, why didn't you get yourself? She's like, no, I was thinking about you guys. Till this day, I'll still encourage my mother, like, if you need to put yourself first, put yourself first. Like, put your desires first. Put the things that give you pleasure first. Put the things that you feel other people might deem you as being selfish. Do that. You see, Lapo, you see over there where they're telling you that you're being selfish for this? That's where you must go. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. Start being interested in yourself. Not as a project, but as someone who deserves to be known. Someone who deserves to be studied, okay? And guess how you study something? You give it time. You give it time. Not as something to optimize, not something to fix or something to whip into shape. Just genuine curiosity. Like, who are you? Like you would someone you love. That to me has been a major building block in my journey with myself. Who am I? Who is Thandi? And here's the truth I feel like gets buried a lot in the productivity rhetoric. You're not going to spend the same amount of time with anyone else on this earth than you will with yourself. The quality of that relationship, how you speak to yourself, how you reward yourself, how you think of yourself deserving of things affects everything. It literally trickles into that. So consider that. Think of that. How you treat yourself, you treat others. So no, a bubble bath is not going to build your business. But a woman who knows how to rest, knows how to listen to her body, and doesn't wait until she's completely hollowed out, moves different. She walks different, she talks different, she thinks different. That woman is able to build the things that last. She's able to cultivate relationships that are not from a place of wounded energy. She's able to do those things from complete wholeness. And I think you'd like to be that kind of girl, don't you? So take the shame out of it. Start taking care of yourself. Not as a last resort, but as a practice, as a standard. As something you finally said to yourself you're worthy of.